And we're declaring his name in the streets, or right now as we're doing right here. So the name's very important. And it says, verse 11, and Yahawah shall make thee plenteous in goods, and in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which Yahawah sware unto thy fathers to give unto thee. Yahawah shall open up unto thee his good treasure, and the heaven will give thee rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand, and thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. And again, this shows you the times that we're in, because at this point in time, we don't have our own businesses. We don't even have our own lands. We're living in the lands of our captivity, and we have to borrow. We're not setting up banks where Esau's coming to us and we're lending to him. We have to go begging to Esau to get loans and everything like that. So, you can jump back in whenever you're ready. So continuing on, it says, and Yahawah shall make thee the head and not the tail, and thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt be not beneath. If thou shalt hearken unto the commandments of Yahawah thy power, which I command thee this day, to do and observe them, and thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, or to go after other gods to serve them. So basically, sadly, we couldn't keep those commandments because we're in this flesh. You know, this is the first body which was subject unto sin, which is why we need first of all, we need to be saved out of this world, because this world is very corrupt. But we also need to be saved out of these bodies which represent the chains of darkness. Because in this flesh, let's say we stayed in this flesh and Yahawah delivered us from this captivity, we'd end up going off again. And the cycle would keep going, because it is impossible in this body to keep the law. But Yahawashi did that for us, which is why his blood was shed for the redemption of the nation of Israel, which is why when he was on the cross, he said, it is finished. You know, he completed that part of the story. Now we're in the part where we're just waiting for him to come and redeem us from our captivity. Now, I'll say this. This is all due to the way the Heavenly Father wants it to play out. Because Yahawashi right now is at the right-hand side of the Heavenly Father. If it were up to him, he would jump out the throne and come and deliver us already. But because he has to adhere to the Father's will, no man knoweth that day or hour except the Heavenly Father. So Yahawah's got something special planned that's going to go down very soon. We don't know exactly when, but we know it's going to be soon due to the signs. And it's going to be an event.
The bag behind you, the bag.
Oh, okay. It's going to be an event like no other in all of history. It's going to be a great day for us, if Lord willing we be of the elect. It's going to be a day of great darkness and destruction for everybody else that's on the earth who's sided with this beast, which then ties into the Revelation prophecy of the mark of the beast, which is the RFID implantable microchip, which people are going to start taking in order to do transactions such as buying and selling. And in taking that mark, they're basically saying, you know what, I want to be a slave to Esau forever. So therefore, they're siding with this system, which is something that we're not supposed to do, being in this truth and being Israelites. Can you jump back in?
No, hey, keep going, brother. Keep going. I'll jump in when I jump in.
Okay, so basically, I read out the blessings that we're supposed to receive, so I'm going to read the curses, which again shows to you who the people of the Lord are. So, because all you've got to do is read these curses and ask yourself, if you're honest, who are the people who are enduring these hardships and these afflictions? So it says, verse 15 in Deuteronomy 28, it says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahawah thy power, to observe to do all his commandments. To observe to do all of his commandments. Now it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Yahawah thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I command thee this day, that these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, and the increase of thy kind, and the flocks of thy sheep. I just want to comment on that one. It says, cursed shall be the fruit with thy body. So when you're having children in this society, they're basically being born into curses. You know, and it's if I might just say this, some time ago when I was a child growing up, I used to think to myself, one day maybe I'd like to have children, you know, if the Lord, you know, wills it. But the older I got, I started to think to myself, you know what, man, seeing all the wickedness that was going on in the earth, I started to think, I don't really want to bring children into this world. I don't want to bring a child here and then the government's telling me I have to send this child into the public school system. You know, that really, really irked me because I hated school myself. I thought, if I have a kid and I bring it up and I have to send it to these wicked ass schools, it's probably just going to learn the wickedness, you know.
But that's funny you say that because me and his brother here, before you came, we was briefly talking about the school thing. And you know, this brother said, you know, I seem like one of those brothers that wanted to learn in school. And then I said, man, I hated school, man, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Alone, because it was boring. I mean, they weren't really teaching anything. They weren't teaching you like what's the word I want to use? Like bomb blowing knowledge.
Right.
They weren't really teaching you like that kind of knowledge that would excite you.
Right.
So it was just more lies and deception, as you all of us know about what I'm talking about with the school systems. But the thing with me is I went to school just to hang out with my friends, man. Just to be a nigga in the world, just to rap, you know, just to do what niggas do. You know what I mean? Like, that's just why I went to school for. But, yeah, I mean, I didn't really like school myself.
That's a good point. And if I might comment on that, there's something that I always noticed when I was in school. They always say, you know, sit still, be quiet and listen to the teacher. But it doesn't really agree with Jake's spirit. Be sat there still. We're kind of lively, we like to be active, and like the learning process is much more fun when you can actually engage and do something. Like, for example, like if you was working for your father, like in the ancient world, your father would probably have a trade and he'd be teaching you the trade and be saying like, okay, do this now, do that. You'd be actively participating rather than being passive, being told what to think, what to say and when to say it. Now, to a precept to back up my point about me not wanting to bring children into this world is Sirach 16:3, and it says, "Trust not thou." Let me read up a bit. Let me read up. 16:1. Desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. Though they multiply, rejoice not in them, except the fear of the Lord be with them.
And brother, could I just elaborate on what that scripture you just read there? Because all your children are going to be in this world. See, Esau's going to teach your children the contrary way on how you taught your child. Like the scripture says, it says, it grieveth it. Like when you teach your children, it grieveth the enemy. Yeah. Because you're teaching your children after the fashions of what is correct versus what is incorrect. And what these school systems are now teaching our children is that which is not correct for life.
Yep.
And you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll go as far as saying the word sodomy. They're showing our children sodomy in all different various ways of life, of living, and you know, trying to get our children to worship some other power or something else. But really, that something else is to have our children worship, which is the government, basically. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And that's what's going to make your children unprofitable unto you. Yep. So, as you just read, it says, as you might as well read it again.
This is Sirach 16:1. It says, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children.
It says, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, which is what your children will be in this world because of the teachers that are in front of, that's going to be in front of your children. So instead of them being profitable unto you and to the world, okay, they're going to be unprofitable. Because you can't take these worms out here. Yeah. I used to call them maggots, but you know, I'll calm down and call them worms.
The Most High said, fear not thou, Jacob.
Right. Well, you know what? That term only stands for us.
Us lucky.
What I meant to say is these, I just call them what I used to call them maggots. These maggots can't sustain a society because their mind's been warped in school and the media. So these people are basically unprofitable for any good. Okay? Now am I saying all of the people? No, because you may have the elect among these maggots here. But overall, these people in general are not profitable even for life because their minds have been warped through the media and actually through school. Okay? So like the brother was saying, because he's seeing all of the wickedness out here, including myself, I feel the same way too. You don't really want to bring no sons and daughters here, man. Let's just be honest, you know? And I mean, let's just say if you do have children, the Lord is going to guide and protect them anyway, because they're of a household of a man that fears the Most High. So if he's saved, his children will be saved.
Brilliant, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm not just talking about being saved in the chariots, but saved in this life, as to living this life. You know? So the Lord is going to take care of the men of the Lord that have those that's in you know, situations like that where they got kids, you know? But generally speaking, these children are going to become unprofitable, man. In this world. That's Esau's going to teach your children to be anyway.
Do you want to say something?
You want to finish reading?
All right, come on. It says 16:1, desire not a multitude of unprofitable children, neither delight in ungodly sons. Though they multiply, rejoice not in them, except the fear of Yahawah be with them. Trust not in their life, neither respect their multitude. For it is for one that is just is better than 1,000, and better it is to die without children than to have them that are ungodly.
Especially now.
Ooh. Yeah, man. Just to add to what you're saying, because I saw a little clip today, last week sometime. Willow Smith, you know all the Smiths then, right?
Oh yeah.
Them some demons.
What you want to say? You want to say it? Go on.
You bring it out.
Because she's saying that the Willow Smith, the daughter, which we know about all this gender, they switch the genders, right? But she's saying she wants to be polyamorous. Willow Smith wants to be polyamorous, which means, because you know it's all technical bullshit at the end of the day, jargon, right? Which means she
break that down.
No, go on.
Poly means multi, amorous. Go back to French or more, maybe. I'm just speculating. So polyamorous meaning multi-love. Yeah,
because the person was breaking it down, and she just we can't really get too much, you know. So, but for edification, basically they want to be able to have sex with anybody who they want.
Yeah, at the
same time. Polyamorous, when you break it down, just for the edification for people who don't know. At her age, right? And I was thinking, and the grandmother was all bent up in her shape and things, you know, she's trying to, because they have to come to terms with what the new generation is all about, you know, which is demonic, the scripture you just read, right? Because it's better not to have children than to have these demons. I was thinking, I would have just, if I was the father, Will Smith, might just have to just do, you know.
And if you notice, there's only 3 women up there. There were no men.
Yeah.
And Jada. So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but Jada Smith, I was looking at her.
Yeah.
And she had blonde hair in her head. I'm thinking, that's straight bugged out, man. And you know she's done wickedness behind the scenes.
Oh yeah.
I watched it once before. I don't watch it, but I saw a little clip. But let me say this, right? I watched it before because it was about lesbianism and all this, right? Because you know what they went into, They're under the demonic spirit. When I watched it, maybe because I didn't have the backing of the Most High, I sensed demons.
What, coming out of the screen?
Coming out into my house, bruv.
That's the thing. Salakia, when this is, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but your TV is like a vessel where demons can indeed come out of that TV and jump on people who are watching the programs that they're putting out. That's why they put all these sodomites on the TV, because when you turn that on, that's like a portal where things can come into your house. Now Steven Spielberg, I think he done a film back in the day, Poltergeist. The famous scene with the little girl sitting there and she says they're here in front of the TV. You think, oh, that's just fantasy, it's just science fiction or horror. But that's real shit. Truth in plain sight.
Because I couldn't watch horror films and movies, but this one, it was actually YouTube. It was YouTube because they've got their thing called a red table. So since then I haven't watched it. You understand?
Jade and them, yeah?
Jade and Pinkett, they've got a red table. So and basically, they're channeling their demons. That red table, they're channeling their demons. So anybody who's gonna get them. But now there's no enchantment against Jacob. And I don't watch TV myself, but there's certain things I might look at.
You know about my TV?
There's no enchantment against Jacob.
Wise man.
But this is what they're doing now. The new generation are more stronger under the demon's influence.
Yes.
Because they're going to school and they're learning about polyamorous. They're learning about mixed genders, all different kind of fucking genders. That all mixed gender, second gender, third gender, all kind of thing. So this is what they're talking about. Tariq Nasib was saying, if that was to try, and even him, he's not in the truth. He's saying I ain't gonna let them teach that to my children.
Oh, hell no, yeah.
I'm gonna if they do that, I'm going down there, and he's all, by the sounds of it, he's got a whole heap of arms in his ass, and some people are gonna have to go. They're gonna go down fighting, man, because what they're teaching them in school now is beyond comprehension what they're trying to do with these children. So to that scripture, man, there's a very good precept, that one, what you just read there.
And that's an interesting point, because in my day, I could see the wickedness, but we didn't have, the LGBTQ. They've added some new letters to it now. A, I, Y, I don't know what those even stand for, and plus. But, that wasn't being taught when I was in the school system, but there was other aspects of wickedness that was being taught. But talking about Jada Pinkett, or Jada Stinkett as I'd rather call her, she and Will Smith, man, they were already bugged out from time ago. So their children...
Yeah, because they sold out years ago, man.
Yeah, their children are the perfect... Like, a tree by its fruit. A good tree won't bring forth corrupt fruit, and a corrupt tree won't bring forth good fruit. So when you look at those kids, like...
It's not
good. Yeah, the water. When you look at Willow Smith, the girl, if you listen to her talk, she doesn't even sound like a young girl, young woman. She sounds like a hard ass,
got a deep voice.
Yeah, deep ass was like...
Yeah, because that's demons.
Demons on her.
Yes,
yeah.
you know.
Like, I used to know girls who I went to school with back in the day, secondary school, and they had feminine voices.
Yeah.
When I bump into them in the street these days, they look rough and they sound rough.
And most of them walk like guys, shrugging their shoulders.
And you know why? It's because of all the men they've been sleeping with. Because a lot of these women, they've been sleeping with a lot of different dudes. So those spirits of the various men they've associated with, it's like, man, there's one example of one girl, I mean, she sounded feminine as hell back when I was 15. I saw her some years ago when I was like, maybe around 2011. I don't hang with her, but I just happened to bump into her. All right, mate. Oh, it's so good to see you, man. And I'm like, and this is why the scriptures say, be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. The difference between us, Lord willing, we be of the elect, and the people in the world is that we were able to withstand the pressures to try and conform and fit in with the world. But and going back to the school thing as well, this is why a lot of girls tend to do well at school, because they're not like us.
Yeah,
men are kind of like...
more rebellious.
Yeah, we're more rebellious and we're more assertive.
Right.
We're more about putting forth our energy than taking on someone else's. But a woman, she's made to receive the spirit of the man.
They're
So in the
conformist.
school system, when they say, okay, sit quiet, sit still, be quiet, listen to teacher, all the girls, they're just sitting there soaking it all up.
Yeah, they are, yeah.
So they get the good grades. And then they said this years ago, they had a big problem in the UK where they're saying girls were consistently outperforming boys in school. And it's all because of the way the system was set up, because Esau knows what he's doing. Because when you have a girl who goes to school, does well, goes to college, does well, goes to university, does well, she comes out with great university degree, and she gets a good job. And that's another thing, a lot of women are earning more than men these days.
Right.
So when a woman comes out of the university system and she's got a degree and she's got a good job and she's looking at you now and she's looking at you like, so why haven't you got a degree? Why haven't you got a master? Why are you earning less than me? These women find it hard to respect men that they see that are beneath them, because they perceive the men as being below. And that ties into the whole feminist angle as well. So Esau's done a fucking... He's played a very good chess game where he's set up so many elements to sway the minds of the people to bring about the destruction of the family unit.
And you got to remember too, he's that old serpent which was called the devil and Satan, going all the way back to the time of Eve.
That's a very good point. Genesis 3. So this whole deception's been going on. I'm going to read that if I may.
So they got masculine energy on them, which if you heard of that guy Kevin Samuels, they're all phoning in with, as you say, with the spirit on them, looking down on men, because they got the masculine spirit on them, masculine energy. They learned that from school, so they got good grades, but they got bad attitudes.
That's perfect, because the Bible says that women are supposed to teach, but are only supposed to teach other women good things, like how to keep at home, how to be the wife of one husband,
how to clean the yard too.
Yeah, and how to clean themselves, because a lot of these women don't know how to wash.
That's a fact too.
So I don't want to get graphic.
No, but that's true. That's all inclusive in what we're saying.
Well, women really should be bathed, and they don't dress right. You're supposed to wear a dress because that gives yourself room to breathe downstairs. When you're keeping yourself all boxed in wearing men's trousers, I don't even want to go there, but you can use your imagination.
Well, we can just say it smells like a gas station.
Yeah, it smells. Gas station smells better than some other.
So what I got from it, right, because I pick up one and two things, which is a lot of it is common sense. what Kevin is doing. We're going to be the therapists because he's a therapist.
Yeah, he is, yeah.
On a carnal level. We're going to be spiritual. Even now we're learning to be therapists because our women, a lot of them they need therapy or death.
Well,
Or death. And who's
even if they do get therapy, brother, they're gonna be put to death. You know.
who's worthy of therapy? Which they might get a man. They might marry the man. The man's going to give them the therapy. The ones that are the elect. Or even I don't know. Are we going to have women that are not elect, and we're going to get them on?
No, the women. You're gonna have a reasonable amount of women that's gonna be saved.
So they're going to get therapy. Yeah.
The majority of these women today, they're gonna just die out. Man.
Yeah. Be put to death. That's what they need.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go on.
yeah,
Slaki.
before I continue in Genesis 3, just reminded me of something. Talking about Jada Stinkit again. Oh, is it a fly? Oh, for what? I remember a couple of years back, I found out that she was in some flipping rock band. Like, really, really like, you know when you see these rock bands and they're like, what is it, Black Sabbath and whatever. I don't listen to that usual music because it's usually about, Satan worship and stuff.
Death.
Yeah, I had no idea, but she actually had a singing career and she was in a band called Wicked Wisdom. Now, what wisdom is she talking about? Why would you call your band Wicked Wisdom? So basically, dealing with left-hand side energies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as I say again, that's why their children are fucked up, man.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had a child that was like Willow Smith or Jaden Smith, I'd probably be in tears, man. Because, like you said, they're unprofitable children.
Yeah.
Man, what the scripture say, is it Matthew 16:26? What profit a man that he selleth his soul and gain the whole world?
Nothing.
Yeah, and Will Smith's done that. And this is the thing, if Will Smith was to be walking across this park, like you said, or other brothers have said, everybody would be running with their cameras trying to see him, trying to take photographs and shit.
Yeah.
But that guy ain't nothing, man. He's just
he's hollow inside. He's nothing inside.
yeah, he's
He has the world to his hands. People are gravitating to him, but what does he have? He has nothing.
a man of no substance.
Yeah.
A man of poor character. Because in order to be successful in Hollywood, you got to do your backdoor deals and shit.
Yeah,
if you're prepared to bend over and let someone come in behind you, just to put it that way, what wouldn't you do? If you're prepared to drink blood and shit behind closed doors, what wouldn't you do? Eat shit.
Come on.
You got something?
Yeah, I got something regarding what you're saying, because I actually thought about this. 1 John 2:8 says, "Little children, it is the last time, and as you have heard that the Antichrist shall come, even now are there many Antichrists, whereby we know that it is the last time." And let me just jump down to but we have an auction from the Holy One, and we know all things. Because I couldn't get my hand around. I used to watch all those, was it Prince of Bel-Air and all that, right? With him, he was a star in my eyes when I was younger, yeah. And when I come to realise he acted as gay, done gay parts, played gay parts, and
Who's this?
Will Smith. Will Smith.
Oh,
And you remember that
60
film too?
Separation,
Yeah.
I was going to mention that.
And what's that? Prince of Bel-Air and all that, right?
Oh, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Prince of Bel-Air. I grew up as he was they put him as a role model for black people.
Yeah, they did.
He was funny. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah, he was funny. But when I got to understand that what he's done and bending and all the things that they do have to do, I realised this is the son of. He might look like us, same colour as us, but he's one of the. He's a son of the devil, man. Child of the devil.
At this point in time, yeah.
So even though you got white people, you got black people, you got children that are like some of them could be in our family too.
Right.
They're not. We're born of Yahawashi. We have an auction from the Holy One that we are of Yahawashi. But you got some of you who you may feel that you're close to, that they're just nothing like you. They may look like you, they may talk like you, but they're just wicked, evil. And that's all these people. We're all the Smiths. Because she's done. I used to watch her. She's done a lot of these parts, comedy parts. Some of the things I used to watch. London Central, Different Worlds, and all these kind of young growing up for black people. We thought were black people programs. But we didn't know we was getting brainwashed, man. These are Antichrist children. They're sometimes worse than Edomites, because you think that you can relate to them.
Or the scriptures does say that my people have become more wicked than the wicked.
So you might you might trust them and open your arms up to them more. Even sometimes, when I think about some of my own people in my own family in Christianity and stuff, they could be more dangerous, more detrimental to you than Edomites, because you know what the Edomites are all about, and you may trust them. You let your guard down with them. So these are the type of people we're talking about.
You gotta watch out for.
Well, this just makes me think about something. You know, Esau knows what he's doing when he's pushing these women at the forefront, like Jada Pinkett. She's doing essentially what Oprah Winfrey had been doing for the past, I don't know how long's Oprah Winfrey been around, 30 years, whatever.
Yeah, since the early 80s.
Yeah. Oprah Winfrey has been basically, she's put there because a lot of black women saw her as someone, oh, we could identify with her.
Yeah.
So they watched the Oprah Winfrey show. But if you actually sit down and watch that show, it's so ungodly, and it's all about promoting, what do you call it, New Age doctrines. She's talking around saying stuff like, oh, you know, there's other ways to, like salvation other than dealing with what they call Jesus. I remember watching that clip where she's saying you don't need Jesus, you know, and her audience was even arguing against her, saying, hang on a minute, they were calling the name Jesus, you need Jesus for salvation. And Oprah Winfrey was saying, no. But she's put up there because, as I say, a lot of our so-called Judite women, or women of the other nation, other tribes too, they look up to her as a role model. They think that she's successful, she's doing it in the world.
Right.
But let me go read some scriptures. This is Genesis 3 on the role of the woman. It says, Genesis 3:1, now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahawah power had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, have the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree that's in the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, now to break it down, the serpent wasn't a snake on a tree like in the Jungle Book,
like
talking.
slithering, like literally slithering, a green snake slithering on a tree.
And she just decides to start speaking to a snake on a random. No, the serpent was one of the wicked. But at that point in time, the wicked there are three classifications of men, and there still are. The sons of God, which is us, the sons of men, which are the other nations, and the sons of the wicked, which are the Edomites, who would have descended from Esau later on. But prior to that time, they were all melanated because they hadn't got the curse yet.
Yeah.
So when Eve was talking to this man, he came up with subtlety. Eve wasn't able to discern it. Eve wasn't able to discern that this man was wicked, because the woman is the weaker vessel.
Yep.
That's why the serpent went to the woman and not unto Adam. So it says, the serpent of the field was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahawah had made. And he said unto the woman, yea, hath the Most High said, ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, we may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest ye die. Now to break this down again, it's not talking about some fruit that she just eat off any tree in the garden.
She just picked up off the tree, brother.
Yeah.
And it was green and red, because you know sometimes apples are two-toned.
Right.
You know?
It wasn't that at all. And that's another thing, I'll just bring this up briefly.
So, brother, there was a snake slithering in this. There was a snake slithering on the tree.
Yeah.
And there was an apple that she picked off.
Yeah, and she told the tree, that was the one forbidden tree out of all the trees.
Come on.
But it just reminded me of something. What was I gonna say? It just jumped out of my head. Like if you look at a lot of paintings about which depict like Renaissance paintings which show Adam and Eve. First of all, they're showing them off because they've got leprous skin, but it's like you said, they always show them. You know, picking the fruit.
There used to be a movie on it. There used to be a movie on Adam and Eve. I remember years ago I watched it, Adam and Eve. Yeah, because I had them on. Yeah, so I don't want to carry on.
Well, it's interesting because sorry to digress, but I remember when I was in Sunday school as a small child, up in a Christian church, like I was about between the ages of 4 and 10, I used to have to go to church. And I used to sit in Sunday school and I used to get pissed off because they'd never tell the story properly. I always used to have questions like, so why was the snake talking to them, or why did they get cursed? It didn't make sense because they weren't breaking it down right. So on the topic of the tree represented the knowledge of good and evil, because prior to that all we knew was righteousness, so we weren't going off. But once the serpent persuaded Eve to learn of the knowledge of the other trees, which was the knowledge of wickedness, she then presented that wisdom to Adam, which goes back to what I just said before. What was Jada Pinkett Smith's band called? Wicked Wisdom. So it says, verse 3, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High has said, ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die.
God.
And the serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, which was a lie. But this part was true. For the Most High doth know that in the day that ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods.
Brother, it sounds like she's eating actual apple.
Well, yeah, it does sound like it, doesn't it? I mean, if you're simple.
In the movie, they make her eat a fruit.
Yeah.
They literally make her pick a fruit off the tree. The snake convinced her. She picked the fruit and she ate it. Because the snake's up there.
Wise.
The snake's in the background, always in the background, talking to her. You know, they show the snake.
Slippery.
So they make it literal. Everything is literal.
But you know, Esau knows the truth again. He knows the truth, and therefore he's able to teach the lies.
Come on.
Now, it says, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, actually let me break down verse 4 a bit more. The serpent said unto the woman, ye shall not surely die, for the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, your eyes shall open, and ye shall be as gods. Mm-hmm. Now, in that verse, it says God with a little g, and that ties into the fact that these women want to be as us because we're the gods with a little g.
Mm-hmm.
So they weren't content with the position that the Most High had given them. They wanted to be like Adam.
Right.
You know? So verse 5 it says, for the Most High doth know that verse 6, and when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired, to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and also gave unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them were both opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together, and made themselves aprons. And that, you know, you see that symbol of, you know, leprous Adam and Eve standing there with the fig leaves on their private parts, as if they were walking around butt naked before that. No, they weren't walking around naked, but their nakedness represented their innocence in a sense. Once they ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, they were like
they became self-aware, more self-aware. Is that because I think
they kind of lost? Am I breaking this down right? And they lost their covering. That's why they felt naked.
No, what it was because they were shamed. They were shamed.
Shame, right.
Yeah, because the word, when you look up the word nakedness, if you can look it up. Yeah, go into the blue letter. Yeah, it just means to be ashamed. I was gonna correct you anyway.
Yeah.
But you know, overall you're right in how you're breaking it down.
Yeah.
But they were shamed, basically.
Yeah. I think some of the Christians got that bit right. That certain bits they get right with certain bits, you know.
But most of it they get it wrong, man.
Well, they say there was a shame because that's why they put they leave fig. They say they were literally naked, so they put fig leaves on. So there was a shame that they were aware they was naked, but they wasn't aware of it before. So they was wrong on that.
Even vocab couldn't break this down. He's supposed to be the authority over the Israelites and what we know, but he couldn't break this down. Come on, man, give me a break.
All right. So the word in the Hebrew for naked.
Yeah, that relationship ain't gonna last too long, man.
With them?
Yeah.
Well, you can see he's the more effeminate type out of the two of them.
She's wearing the pants, man.
Yeah, she's walking with confidence. He looks like he's all stringy.
Yeah, that's for the most part. That is, all these women. I'm watching this. Just I'm finding it very fascinating, right? Because there's a lot I still don't know about these women, because it's all about they're all feminists.
But you know, though,
with,
brother,
with
like I said,
very few exceptions.
Like I told this brother, these women under a trance, they've been beguiled by the serpent, man.
Yeah.
The serpent told them, look, if you do this, say, B, and C, then you'll be on the same level as a man. Now look what it's got them. The
thing with him, what he's got a platform, right? And they respect him because he's got this carnal, he's carnal, and he's got a platform that is about money. So he gets to ask the correct questions, and they expose themselves that they really don't like men.